There's a document that gets created every single time. A used car is sold in Japan, and almost no overseas buyer ever asks to see the full version of it. The people who do ask for it end up with better cars, fewer surprises, and often pay less for the same vehicle than buyers who never bothered. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to read this document yourself, grade by grade, mark by mark, so nobody can hide anything from you again. This document is called an auction sheet. Every vehicle sold through a Japanese used car auction, including key trucks, sedans, vans, almost everything gets inspected by a professional grader before the auction, and that inspection becomes a one-page report. If you're buying from Japan, whether directly or through an exporter, this sheet is the single most reliable source of truth about the car's actual condition. Photos can be flattering, descriptions can be vague. The auction sheet is neither. At the top of the sheet, you'll usually see one overall grade most commonly, a number from 3 to 6, though you'll also see grades like S or 4.5 on cars in exceptional condition. This number is a general summary of the vehicle's condition, and a lot of buyers stop reading right there. That's the mistake we need to fix, because the real information, the stuff that actually determines whether you're getting a good deal, is in the sections most people skip. Let's start with the body diagram. Most auction sheets include a simple line, drawing of the car from multiple angles, and on that diagram, small letters and numbers are marked at specific points: the front bumper, a rear door, a fender. These marks describe exactly what condition each panel is in. The most common marks you'll see are A and U, each paired with a number. Things like A1, A2, A3, or U1, U2, U3. A marks a scratch. U marks a dent, and the number tells you the severity. A lower number means smaller and barely noticeable. A higher number means more visible and more likely to bother someone. In Japan, most buyers don't really start caring until a mark hits A3 or U3. Anything below that is generally treated as minor, even by picky buyers. If you're importing something like a higher end sedan and you personally care about cosmetic perfection, an A3 or U3 on a visible panel is the point where you should think twice. There's also a mark called W, which means a panel has already been repaired or repainted. This one carries its own number. 2W1 means the repaint was done cleanly and looks good, while something like W3 usually means the repair is rougher or more visible, even though the panel has technically been fixed. Then there's R, and this one matters more than the others. R marks what's called a shufukureki vehicle in Japan, essentially an accident or frame damage history. It means the car either had frame damage at some point or has had frame-related repairs. In Japan, this drops the price significantly because local buyers are extremely sensitive to it. But here's the part worth knowing: an R grade is about the frame and body structure, not the engine. In plenty of cases, the mechanical side of the car is completely unaffected, and the vehicle drives perfectly normally day to day. It's a real hit to resale value in Japan, but not automatically a reason to avoid the car if you're planning to actually drive it rather than resell it. As a rough benchmark, vehicles sitting on the showroom floor at Japanese used car dealerships are usually graded 4 or higher overall. Once you drop toward 3.5 and below, you're typically looking at a vehicle that needs some bodywork or paint work before it looks presentable. Not necessarily a bad car, but good to know going in. Here's the part almost nobody outside Japan realizes: exact symbol meanings can vary slightly between auction houses. USS, one of the largest auction networks, uses a slightly different scale than some regional auctions. This is exactly why asking your exporter which auction house the vehicle came through and asking them to walk you through their specific grading key matters more than memorizing one universal chart. Now, here's a detail that changes how you should actually use all of this. On a vehicle that's already 15, 20, 25 years old, some scratches and small dents are essentially unavoidable. The goal when reading a sheet isn't to hunt for a truck or car with 0 marks anywhere. That's an unrealistic standard for an older vehicle, and chasing it will just waste your time. The real goal is figuring out your own comfort threshold for cosmetic wear, and then checking the sheet against that threshold, not against some imaginary perfect example that doesn't exist for a vehicle this age. Interior condition gets graded separately, usually with a letter from A to D, or sometimes a simple word like clean or dirty. This covers things like seatwear, dashboard, cracking from sun exposure, and general cleanliness. It's worth paying attention to on its own, because a vehicle can have an excellent exterior grade, while the interior tells a completely different story. Heavy wear from commercial use, for example, even if the outside was kept in great shape. Now, what about the engine and mechanical condition? This is where a lot of overseas buyers assume the auction sheet tells them everything, and it doesn't, not directly. The sheet's grade is overwhelmingly about the body and interior. Mechanical condition is typically verified separately, on-site at the auction house itself, often by starting the engine, and doing a basic operational check before the auction begins. This means the real question you need to ask your exporter or agent isn't, "What's the auction sheet say about the engine?" It's whether they, or someone working for them, actually inspected the vehicle mechanically in person, or whether they're simply relaying whatever the auction house staff noted. That distinction matters enormously, and most buyers never think to ask it. There's one more wrinkle worth knowing before you go: looking for a full auction sheet yourself. Some Japanese auction houses restrict full sheet access to third parties overseas, treating it as internal data available only to registered dealers. If your exporter can share the complete sheet with you, always ask to see it. Don't settle for a verbal summary. But if they genuinely can't share it due to those restrictions, that doesn't mean you're out of options. You should still ask them directly to describe, panel by panel if needed, exactly what they observed, and treat a vague or reluctant answer as a warning sign, rather than something to just accept. Let's put this all together with a quick example. Imagine two K trucks, both graded a 4 overall, both the same model year. One has no body marks at all and a clean interior grade. The other has a W3 mark on the rear bumper, meaning that panel was repainted, and not particularly well. Plus a heavily worn interior grade. On paper, both trucks are grade 4. In reality, you're looking at two very different purchases, and only reading past that headline number tells you which one you're actually buying. If there's one habit that separates confident importers from frustrated ones, it's this: never accept a grade number on its own. Always ask for the full sheet. Ask what auction house it came from, ask whether the mechanical side was inspected in person, and ask about anything marked or unclear. Before you send a single dollar, it takes 10 extra minutes of questions. It can save you from a very expensive mistake. In the next video, we're tackling something that trips up a surprising number of first-time buyers: Japan's yellow license plates, and the myth that they mark a lower-class vehicle. The truth is almost the opposite of what most people assume, and it comes down to money, not status.